I found you just searching I normally search My Happy Flo every now and then just to see if anybody has testimonials or if they're talking about their experience. And so, I mean, yours was like vibrant, like it was giving what it had to give, okay?
Yeah. Well, you know what? My Happy Flow is doing what it needs to do for my life. I
know that's right.
Sometimes I just be like, now what can I ain't never felt all 24 hours of the day. What I'm gonna do? Because typically those extra hours would go toward napping or trying, just being like so miserable either the week before, the week of, or the week after. 3 weeks out of the month, I was unalive to the world.
Well, it's crazy how much we don't realize, like, our period can take up a lot of life. Like, how much life you buy back, how much time you buy back when we get our period under control.
Yeah, because, I didn't even realize how much of my life was invested in preparing for, navigating through, and recovering from my period. I didn't even realize it until the last, 4 or 5 months. I'm like, I got so much time on my hands. I finished a book. How you sit down and read a book and you and then you just get distracted and you don't finish it. I finished reading a book over the last few months. A book I've been meaning to read, a project I've been meaning to do. It's
and you're glowing, girl. Look at you.
People have been telling me, someone stopped me on the street and she was like, "You skiing?" And I was like, "The flow."
So I want to know, for people who don't know you, let us know who you are. And then I want to know a little bit about your background with your period symptoms.
Not a problem. So my name is Ink. I am the program manager for a nonprofit organization called CROP, and I support the formerly incarcerated and getting jobs in tech. Outside of that, I have a radio station for indie artists. So we help with a little bit of light artist development and getting them connected to folks who are in the industry without having to jump through all those flaming hoops. We try to make it really accessible for independent artists. I'm also, one of my mentees is in here. I'm a community change activist for people, the babies need support and love. And the history of my period. So I detail this on my website. Yes, pinned, use the code. Come on now. I detailed this in my blog on my site, but I got my period in the 7th grade. And I remember once it was official, it clicked in my brain that okay, this is my period. I remember thinking, I think this happened a couple months ago. But because of it not being the textbook, what I thought a period to be, of course we all read, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." So I'm expecting Margaret's period.
Well, wait, first, what was Margaret's period?
So Margaret's period was all the girls in her class got it. And then she just went to the bathroom one day and she was like, "I have my period." And she was so excited and she was hugged by her mom and her grandmother. And everyone was like, oh, we're so excited, Margaret. So I'm thinking, I'm Margaret. Am I not Judy Blume? I'm expecting a very Judy Blume-esque period. I'm expecting it to be delightful and simple and just easy breezy, beautiful. But the entire day, I'll never forget, that entire day, I felt like I had to go to the bathroom. And I kept feeling but nothing was happening. So I wasn't eating the whole day. I don't even really remember drinking water, but I definitely remember feeling like I go to the bathroom, but nothing's happening. And then that final time, the last period of class, I'm sitting there, I'm hot all day, I'm sweating. I'm laying on my arm on my desk. I've gone to the bathroom maybe 4 or 5 times just in this one class alone. And the final time I go, I look down and I'm like, okay, this is not what Margaret was talking about. This is not what Margaret said. Judy Blume lied to me. I was so mortified that because I didn't know what was happening to my body, I was so mortified. The only thing I could think to do was just be ashamed, just be embarrassed, be in shame. I was like, that's the only thing that seems easy to me because anything that has to do with being a girl is shameful. So I'm just ashamed of my experience. My parents picked me up from school that day. We go see the mummy. I think it was the second mummy. And I'm in so much pain and I'm so uncomfortable. I'm laid out across 3 or 4 seats in the movie theater. You know how much pain a kid got to be in to put their face on a public movie theater seat? I was miserable the whole time. I'm writhing and throughout the theater. I went to the bathroom 3 or 4 times. I just feel horrible. When me and my mom finally got home, me, my mom, my dad got home. My sister came home from basketball practice. I go to the bathroom. I call my mom in. She comes into the bathroom. And again, Judy Blume lied to me. I'm expecting to get hugged. Okay, I'm expecting a parade welcoming me into motherhood. And all my mom said was, well, you know you can get pregnant, right? And that's all she said. I'm like, great. What do I do about what's happening here, though? Because this is terrible and it's a nightmare for me. Ever since then, it was whenever my period would come, my mom, if she knew that my period was coming, rather than her trying to negotiate with me to go to school, she would just say, okay, you're going to take the next couple of days out of school? Yeah, okay, we'll call the school and let them know. It wasn't even like it was just going to, so that was how the rest of 7th grade went. That was how all of 8th grade went. That's how 9th and 10th grade went. By the time I was in 11th and 12th grade, I was in private school. So they had a different kind of schedule. So I was able to just sleep in some class. I can go to the theater teacher and be like, it's that time of the month. And she would just let me sleep in her class. And I would just go to the theater, and 3 or 4 days out of the month, I'm sleeping theater class because the pain is so bad. I can't go to basketball practice. If I'm going to basketball practice, I'm either super tenacious because the hormones have me raging like a bull, or I can't get my energy up enough to participate fully. Brain fog was nightmarish. It wasn't until my senior year of high school, my sister took me to get on birth control. Not so much to alleviate the pain, because we weren't even thinking about that, but it was more so just like, hey, you're getting at that age, you're about to go to college, let's get you started for that now. Any conversation we had with a doctor about the pain, specifically me and my mom had with the doctor about the pain, they normalized it. Oh,
Yeah.
Periods, they hurt. Well, she's cramping the week before. Oh, well, that's normal to cramp the week before. Okay, but she's cramping the week after. Oh, well, that's normal. So she's cramping for 3 weeks. Well, that's normal. And all the doctors are kind of just shrugging it off. One doctor kind of like blurted out, oh, it does kind of sound like endometriosis, but we don't know. Didn't test for it. Just gave me all the symptoms, and I'm like, yes, I have that, and I have that, and I have that. And he goes, but it's unlikely at your age. And so just kind of let me go, and I'm writhing in pain. I'm bleeding through overnight pads, and I'm just like miserable from age 12 until age about 18, when I'm fully on birth control at this point. And you know how girls get to talking, and we think we so smart at 17, 18, 19. We think we so smart. Girl, you want to not get your period? Just don't take the sugar pills. We not smart. We don't know.
Lord. I mean, we look back now, we're like, oh my God.
That's a horrible to do to my body, right?
Exactly.
Especially with thinking about how the way that my period comes on now, not to jump ahead too far, but the way my period comes on now, it comes on so gently. It's such a gentle invitation to cleaning my body. It feels like I'm actually going through a healthy cleansing of my body. I don't feel this fatigue where I feel like I got conked over the head and I'm recovering for 4 days. No, it just, the last month's period happened just like this. I'm sitting in a meeting. I get a little warm, and I'm like, it's summer, but it's a little hotter than usual. And then I felt like it literally felt like my brain went blink, and I was like, is that a cramp? Then the meeting ended, and I was like, oh, well, let me go to the bathroom and make lunch. And I went to the bathroom, and I was like, oh.
The My Happy Flo period. It creeps up on you. It creeps up on you.
She was just, and it wasn't because of my periods before. If it crept up on me, it wasn't something that I discovered in the bathroom. If my period was going to creep up on me before My Happy Flo, it was going to be something violent.
Yeah,
it was going to be a you should have knew better period.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
The chair is ruined, the pants are ruined, throw the underwear in the trash. You don't get to keep them no more. That outfit is done, But this was very much like, oh no, I'll just wait till you get to the bathroom. You just let me know when you're ready. I'll see you when we get there. Yeah. I'm hanging out. And every day of the period is very much like, okay, I feel like I'm talking to my period and saying, what you need, girl? You want some tea?
Exactly.
How you feeling?
It's a different relationship with your body. You gave me so much to work with. I got to go back to certain areas of the story. One, what your mom said to you, because someone else actually dropped in the comments that her mom said the same thing. You can get pregnant now. And I believe I heard Gabrielle Union talk about this too, like most, especially Black women's introduction into like when they got their period, that was the first thing someone in their family said, you can get pregnant now. So how can we have a positive outlook? And it's not said in a way that's positive. Like you can, it's
Yeah.
said in a way like, be careful.
Yeah. Don't bring home no babies.
It's almost as though you're cursed because you've gotten this thing.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, how are we even supposed to have these positive relationships with our periods when that's the first thing we hear when we come on our period at 11 or 12 years old?
Yeah, so my fiance has a daughter. She'll be 12 in January. And I call her my sunshine. So that's what I'm talking about. Anytime I ever say sunshine, that's who I'm referring to. And Sunshine got her period. Her grandmother was there, and her grandmother was like, oh, here we go. And my first reaction was, oh, congratulations, welcome. I'm so glad to have you. And I hugged her, and she was like, what? And I was like, I'm so glad to have you. Welcome. Is there anything you need? You want to go get ice cream today? You want to chill? What would make you feel good today? It was like, I just put it at that level. I established our first interaction with her period is going to be that. And from there, and she's also so blessed to have a father that is not like weird about periods. He's not like, I ain't trying to hear that. Whereas my dad, in a house full of 3 women, he don't want to hear about periods. 3 women though, he don't want to hear about it. Her father is so very much like, he's nothing about periods is he squeamish about. He's like, yeah, let me go get you some pads, or you want to go to the store with me, or oh, she's not feeling good, I'm gonna go get her some Chipotle and some chocolate and some hot Cheetos, and she's about to chill tonight. Like, he's not weird about it at all. So it was very easy in that space. She didn't have to deal with any shame around her period, but with us. And so we have a lot of conversation. She's open about it. She'll come in and she'll be like, oh, I'm on my period. So I just, okay. And it's very just normal.
Y'all have to say, this is a prerequisite for me, but if I can't talk to a man about my period, then I don't need to be with him. You know what I mean? Period.
Period. We ain't got nothing to talk about, sir.
At all.
How are you squeamish about something you learned at 11, sir?
So the doctor, you were going to the doctors and they were kind of just, I'm sure they were normalizing the pain. And one thing I will say, just running My Happy Flo the last 2 years, I realized that a lot of us was never taught with what a normal period looks like. What does a normal period look like? Like, when I tell people there's no pain, you're not supposed to have any pain, they're like, what? You're supposed to have little to no pain on your period. Your period should only last 3 to 7 days on average. 3 to 5 is like the sweet spot. It's the average. It should be coming every 25 to 35 days. Bright red in color. It shouldn't have any clots, especially if they're the size of a quarter. That's a problem. But it should be straight flow of blood, red, bright. And it's crazy because another thing, you're only supposed to lose around, and this sounds like a little bit, you're only supposed to lose around 30 to 80 milliliters of blood. So that's about 2 to 6 tablespoons. And it seems like, what? Because people lose way more than that during their periods, but we're not supposed to be bleeding like that, like throughout, through tampons, pads by the hour. And so this is how my period is now. Like, what I just expressed is a normal period, but most of us weren't taught what it was supposed to look like. We were taught that it was supposed to be painful. We were taught that it was supposed to have PMS. You're not really supposed to have PMS symptoms like that. That's signs of hormonal imbalances. And so I think the more women are able to identify what's healthy and what's not, they can get earlier diagnosis. They can advocate for themselves at the doctor. You could have been diagnosed at 12 or 13 with something. You probably weren't diagnosed until maybe late 20s.
I think I got an official endometriosis diagnosis. Everything else was symptomatic, where I just assumed that's what it was. But I didn't get an official diagnosis, and this is my right hand, until 3 months ago.
That is wild. That is absolutely wild. And so, the more we know about our bodies, the more we can advocate for ourselves at the doctor. And if that doctor isn't willing to treat us, if the doctor's constantly pushing birth control or all types of meds, but they're not willing to test you, blood work, do some sonograms, like really get in there and see what's going on, we got to find a new doctor.
Gotta be willing to live. Gotta be willing. I'm a firm advocate of, if I feel like we're not having a conversation like about what's happening and we're not remedying the situation, I gotta dip. And I'm okay.
Absolutely.
With it. Yeah.
And no gaslighting, and I hear
Yeah.
so many stories. So
Yeah.
back to you. Over the years, you've tried a lot of different diets.
Mm-hmm.
What were the ones you felt worked in terms of help your period?
The only one that I can like for sure be like, oh, this was the one, was when I was sugar-free for 6 months. I didn't have a carb. I didn't touch a sugar for 6 months straight. I didn't lose a lot of weight. I lost a lot of inflammation, but like not a lot of weight. And my period, while still very painful, was not as painful as the periods when I was like actively eating sugar, which to me, I was like, it doesn't seem like a fair enough trade-off, because I'm out here for sure hungry. I'm hungry.
Hilarious.
Like, this ain't even worth it. I'm gonna go ahead and eat these Doritos. But what I can say, in comparison, this is the only period I've ever had that didn't feel like a nightmare in my whole life.
Wow.
Ever. Yeah. And that's no exaggeration. Like, people who know me, where I'm like, hey, I can't come tonight, I'm at the ER. Like, that's how bad it's been. I can confidently and comfortably say, this is the period that I've been dreaming of.
Oh,
where
wow.
It comes on gently. It's only 3 to 5 days, like at most 5 days. And that 5th day ain't even really a period. It's me just wearing a pad, because I'm like, what if she just took a couple of hours off? I'm not sure. 3 to 5 days, like, for sure. That 5th day, it's done. There is no 6, there is no 7.
I love it.
There were periods that I had that were like 11 to 13 days.
Woo! And you guys, that is not normal. That is not normal at all.
At all. And you made a comment about going through overnight pads. I posted a video about this on TikTok also. I bought regular pads for the first time in my 2 or 3 months ago. I've never been able to wear regular pads. And now I'm like, let me give me a 20. They got to come with like 28 pack. I didn't even know regulars came with that pack. I'm just 12.
I know that's right. You're like, I'm about to save money.
So much money is getting saved, because the regular pads, I think I still have some from the pack I bought 2 periods ago. So I have enough to get me through this next period when it comes. Whereas with overnights, I'm going through a pack a month. So I'm spending $10 to $20 every 3 weeks, as opposed to now I spent $9 3 months ago.
So we both have our sisters on here. I see your sister because she's commented.
Hey, what?
I'm trying to figure out, so she's been trying to get you to try this product for a while. Yeah. What was it like? What was your initial reservations about My Happy Flo?
My initial reservation was being let down so often by everyone thinking they have the remedy. Everyone's like, oh, raspberry tea. You just got to eat more raspberries. That's all it is. What you're missing in your life is just yoni steams. You just need to do a nice yoni steam. What you need is a little yoni egg. You need a yoni. Everyone's giving me the remedies, and I'm like, none of these things are working. Not one of them. I'll drink raspberry tea until my eyes are turning into raspberries, and nothing feels any better, or at least better enough to say like, oh, that was helpful. You know what I mean? But the thing that really made me push for, my sister and I have a beautiful relationship. Like, I'm so lucky to have her. She was tired of seeing me in pain, and she trusts. First of all, you are one of like her faves, right? And she was like, I trust Nicole. Like, you got to hear these testimonials from other people. She goes, I've been taking it, and I don't have the same experience as you do, but it's been helping me. And I'm like, I'm still on the fence about it. She bought my first bottle, and I was like, well, she bought it? I ain't about to let it down. Let me just try it. She didn't already bought it here.
Right.
All right, I'll try it. And I remember in the first like 2 weeks asking my sister, like, do you feel? And she's like, it's working. That first My Happy Flo period, I asked my fiance, I said, do you notice that I'm on my period? He goes, oh, are you? I had no idea. Whereas he's all hands on deck. If the mood is doing mooding, he's already at the door with a bottle of cranberry juice, a couple Rice Krispie treats, a bottle of Ibuprofen and Tylenol. He's like, whatever.
Wow. Come on.
right? We are ready. He didn't even know. I was like, yeah, I'm like on day 2. He was like, I didn't even know this, because the mood swings were one of the first things to go away. It's been remarkable.
Aww.
It's been remarkable. Very glad that my sister blessed me, because I would have known.
How long have you been with your fiance?
We've been together for, this year will be 7 years. This October will be 7 years.
What were conversations with him like in the beginning stages of dating, when you knew you were, you know, you had the heavy bleeding, you had the bad periods?
He was always so welcoming. Like, just like you said, like, if we can't have conversations about periods, that's we can't talk. And I remember the first time we had a conversation where, like, my period, I at the time when we first started dating, my period was doing this like start-stop thing. So it would be on for 3 days, off, and it'd start end of the 4th day, and I'd be back on for a day, and it'd stop and start, and it was just confusing. And so we had one of those days where I wasn't sure if it was going to come back, so I'm just like, kind of, you know. And I said, I ain't trying to get too much into it. Like, you already know I'm on a period. And he goes, why wouldn't you want to get too much into it? I got a daughter. Like, I was there when she was born. I know how this all works. What's going on? And after that, there was no hesitation. Now we talking about it. I'm cramping. There's a lot going on when I went to the bathroom just now. I feel like I got jumped. 90, I'll say 99% of the times that I've been rushed to ER, he's taken me. The only one time he didn't take me, he was following in the car behind, because his sister was driving my car. Like, I was driving and something happened. You know how the cramps can get real painful with endometriosis. And I had a cramp that I blacked out behind the wheel. And all I could do was pull over and put my car in park. And I was like, take me to the hospital. So she and I switched seats, and he was in the car behind. So he was taking me to the hospital anytime I had a period issue. I passed out, lightheaded, seeing stars, all kinds of stuff. And he is right there every single time. He's asking the questions. If they saying what kind of things that I need, he's either writing it down or putting it in his phone, or I'll give him my discharge paperwork and he'll leave me in a car to go into CVS. Like, it was never a question about us having an honest conversation about my periods. Not to mention, we've had conversations about wanting to have kids. So if I'm trying a new remedy to make my uterus more healthy, he's like, okay, well, what do I need to do? Or what do you need to make that more successful? Or I support you, do your thing. When I said I was going to do fibroid surgery, I didn't want to go in. I'm crying. I'm like, please don't leave me. And he's like, no, you got this, babe. You got this. And as he's walking out, I can see him like put his head down. I'm like, you're crying too. We both crying. Like, but we knew it was for the better. We thought, which we'll get into later, it was for the betterment of having a healthier period. But he's always been supportive of whatever I believe I need to get to the right side of a good period.
Well, they definitely want to know about your fibroids and like how you got when did you get diagnosed with fibroids?
So I think I was being gaslit for the first, I want to say 6 years, for sure, because I was having these crazy periods, and they would go in. I was having regular checkups with a gyno, and they're like, oh, we don't see anything. Oh, everything looks normal. Oh, the pap smear's normal. Everything's normal. And I'm like, something's wrong. Not to mention, I am miscarrying. I've had 7 miscarriages. Like, something's going on in there, right? And I had an ultrasound in the summer, early summer of last year. And thank God for this ultrasound tech, because she's doing the ultrasound, and she like goes and looks on the left side, and she comes around to the right side, and I hear her clicking, and she's clicking and clicking and clicking, and I'm like, that's a lot of clicking for it to be nothing in there, as they've been telling me since 2000 whatever. And when she was done, she goes, okay, your doctor will go over your ultrasound with you, but I'm going to let you know. They're going to tell you there's nothing wrong. I need you to push for yourself, because I see something in there, something about the size of a golf ball, something a little bit smaller. You know, there's something in there. I'm pretty sure it's a fibroid. I think you have a cyst on your right ovary. Don't let them tell you it's not there. It's there. So when I got on the phone with my OB, however many days later, I said, the ultrasound tech told me something in there. What's going on? And I pushed I kept pushing, and I kept pushing, and I kept pushing for them to like really get proactive about what's going on with me. And that OB surgeon last year, she was a brown woman. She was really cool. She had a great disposition about what she wanted to do. She had the great vision for how the surgery was going to go. But what I wasn't a fan of was how hopeless she was about my ability to conceive. I was like, that's not true. Like I've seen a whole bunch of people with fibroids and all kinds of stuff be able to conceive. I'm not buying that. Everything else I like, but that's the part I'm not a huge fan of. It just so happened that she ended up not being my surgeon. I ended up having a different surgeon. They went in and did another ultrasound. They confirmed 2 about golf ball size, but like a little bit smaller, a couple other ones. And she was like, there's something in there that I can't really diagnose as a fibroid, but it looks like it could be because it's hiding in the back. So we're going to go in and clean it all up. And I'm like, okay, you know, we'll see.
When was this? When was this? Last year?
The second ultrasound was at the end of last year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then you were supposed to have fibroid surgery when?
The original surgery date was supposed to be January. Then they pushed me back to February. You know how they get with the pushing back. When they pushed me back to February, I started feeling deprioritized. And I said, you're not taking my health into consideration. That pushback was actually a blessing because that's when I started My Happy Flo in January.
Wow.
And I feel like if there's obviously hindsight is 2020. Had I taken that as the blessing as it was, I probably wouldn't have had to gone into surgery at all. Because when I started My Happy Flo in January, they pushed me back from February to March, from March to early April. I had already been on My Happy Flo about 3.5, going on 4 months when I went into surgery. When they went in to do the surgery, there were no fibroids.
When did you learn this? After your surgery or before your surgery?
After my surgery. Wow. It wasn't until I came out of anesthesia that she goes, so we went in and there weren't any fibroids. There were something called polyps. You know, polyps are just like small growths. So, you know, that can be kind of normal. So she goes, we cleaned that up. You did have a tiny small cyst, but the size that it was before the surgery, it significantly shrank. And so we cleaned up as much as we could. But yeah, there were no fibroids in there. And I'm like,
wow,
why'd you cut me?
Right. That part. Yeah. Wow. And so you had been on My Happy Flo for about 3.5 to 4 months. And then you went in and no fibroids. I know people are going to wonder, were there any other lifestyle changes you made in between that time?
Nope. I didn't stop eating sugar. It wasn't sugar. I had already not been drinking coffee, but around that time I was drinking more coffee because I'm a program manager now, and my program was launching in March. So I kind of just needed coffee to keep me going. So as a person who didn't really drink coffee, I started drinking coffee. So it's like there were really no lifestyle changes. I'm already a person who doesn't drink a lot. I might have a drink with alcohol in it less than 10 times in a year. I used to be a heavy drinker. Don't get me wrong. My sister will tell you, me and her, we can take down a nice little bottle.
I know that's right.
Like that, the year me and my fiance met, I was like, nope, I'm done with alcohol. So I don't really drink like that either. No major lifestyle changes though. Didn't go vegetarian. Didn't go vegan. Wow. Nothing like that.
Y'all, she was doing all the things. She was doing all the things. I was living my life
very normally. Yeah. The only change was taking My Happy Flo.
Wow. Okay. Look at My Happy Flo working miracles out here.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm blessed. I'm very grateful. Like the gratitude I have for the product. I know a lot of people, you know, they have their own fears about trying new things, and I can't tell you what's best for your body at all. But as a person who tried everything, I was hesitant because I had tried everything and been let down. Or the things that were required to be successful and other things were things that weren't conducive to my lifestyle. I sometimes don't have time to steep a pot of tea every day. You know, sometimes I don't feel like drinking a hot tea every day. I can't do it. It wasn't conducive to my lifestyle. So being able to just take 2 tablets every day, time of day doesn't even too much matter to me. If I forget to take it before I go into my office, when I come home, I'll just pop it, you know, take 2 and finish cooking my dinner, and it's going to be what it is. It doesn't disrupt my sleep. I can take My Happy Flo before bed. I can take it first thing in the morning. Like it didn't disrupt my life outside of improving my period or making my life better. So I can't say what anybody else needs to do for their lives. I do know my doctor tried to put me on birth control and my face broke out. And I stopped taking birth control and My Happy Flo. And I promise you, it's got to be My Happy Flo. Cleared my face up. I was getting all these like little pimples around my face. I started taking My Happy Flo. My face literally started glowing. Like, gave me my melanin back and everything. Y'all know how it is to be anemic. I'm not anemic anymore. And I also want to attribute that to My Happy Flo.
My Happy Flo. There we go.
Because they did my blood work and they were like,
sis, They're like, you leveled up on this. I will say, because first of all, thank you everybody that's dropping their testimonials in the comment. Like, it is such a beautiful thing. And y'all gonna make me cry up in here because they just dropping them. Like, thank you so much. But I wanted to say, for people who are new to My Happy Flo, we take an approach that's kind of different than PMS supplements that are on the market. Most are herb based. We don't have any herbs in My Happy Flo. We do have, like I said, dim and endo-3-carbinol, and they help with estrogen balance. So someone was asking a question. She said that she had high estrogen and low test. Should I continue taking My Happy Flo considering it has estrogen hormone support? I just want to clear that up. It actually helps lower the excess estrogen in your body. And so we have other ingredients in the product like vitamin C that actually helps raise your progesterone. So what happens is more of a balance between the two hormones, which is why we say we naturally help you balance your hormones. And with that, people are seeing decreased fibroid growth. They're seeing decreased cyst growth. They're seeing a decreased risk of breast cancer. For me, my mom passed away at the age of 41 of breast cancer. So that's what kind of led me to My Happy Flo. I don't know if you guys know or not, but I actually turned 43 September 2nd, and it's My Happy Flo's 2-year anniversary because I launched this brand on my mom's 41st birthday. And I'm just like, when you guys post testimonials, when you email us, when you're like, write in, you DM, like, you're just, I can't even explain what it does because I know like this is such a ode to my mom and my ancestors, this brand. Like, what am I of all people doing with a brand like this? Knowing, a lot of you guys know me from my gossip blogging days, you know me from XO Nicole, but this truly feels like I'm living in my purpose. And so, yeah, someone mentioned, and the vitamin C helps you absorb the iron in My Happy Flo. That is absolutely correct. So what I was saying is My Happy Flo helps with hormonal balance, but we also have flaxseed in it that helps reduce inflammation. And then we have the 7 vitamins and minerals, including gentle iron, magnesium, vitamin D3, vitamin C, B6, B12, because a lot of period complications come from micronutrient deficiencies. Mm-hmm. So for us, it was about really elevating your overall health, not just during your period week, but every single day of the month. And that's why you take it every day like a multivitamin. So yep. I am so excited, like just hearing all the things, like your body needed those extra nutrients. It needed that iron. It needed that vitamin D3. Like, and I'm just like, I couldn't be more proud of this formulation for sure.
I'm proud of you. I am so glad. I'm so glad you exist. You are so necessary. You out here saving lives. Like, if y'all are uncertain, just give 1 month a try. Like, just give
1 month,
risk-free.
We have a risk-free return policy. You can make a return within 60 days because we promise within 60 days, 2 menstrual cycles. Sometimes it doesn't happen the first menstrual cycle. Sometimes you got to wait for cycle 2. But we have a risk-free, money-back guaranteed. We definitely like stand by our product and our promise. It's not going to work for everybody for whatever reason. A lot of times if someone is having a heavier flow than normal, it's always 2 things. When I'm asking questions, it ends up being either they're on other medications that's not interacting well with the product. Mm-hmm. And that could also be birth control as a medication, or they're drinking caffeine every day. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's either one or the other that's like delaying their progress. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to put that out there.
I say all the time, I don't think anybody had a more violent period than I do. And I could be lying because I've only experienced mine. But those days, like, now that I don't live them, and that's the beauty of transformation, that's the beauty of growth, that you can look back on harder times and be glad that you survived and you know what overcome looks like and feels like. But looking back on those days, I'm grateful that I'm here today, but I just don't know how I was surviving them I just
Wow.
don't know. They were so awful. Those were such awful times. I'm glad to be where I am right now. I'm just letting y'all know. Oh, the comment that she made about caffeine, she was saying that oftentimes there are two having an effect on things. So that was the comment that she just made
I'm
about
going
caffeine.
through some things, obviously.
Huh? Huh?
I'm like, I'm going through some things. My earbuds fell out. I couldn't hear
I had your
anything.
back.
Hold on.
I had your back. I was holding it down. I was holding it
Thank
down.
you. Thank you.
Someone said, "Does your ultrasound say how large your fibroids were?" Yes. When I went in for the initial ultrasound early summer of last year, there was one obvious one that was about the size of a golf ball, maybe a little bigger. Then there was another one that was probably a little bigger than that. I had one that was smaller than that, and then there was one in the back that they couldn't tell if it was a fibroid or not. So they were, it was a lot going on. It was a lot going on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions for her, drop them in the comments or
Yeah,
in the
I would so
question
happy
box.
to answer any
Yeah,
questions
I
y'all
do have a
have.
question just about like how did your period have an effect on like your mental health or even your intimacy, like sex life?
So my mental health was in the gutter. Mental health, when I would be approaching the week of PMS, so prior to me getting therapy also, I would be approaching the week of my period, wouldn't even know that I'm PMSing because at this time, everything felt so crazy and cloudy in my mind all the time. It was hard to even track when my period was coming because I always felt crazy. But I would be especially suicidal the week before my period. Like that was like one of my indicators, like, oh, I think I'm getting my period because I don't want to be here anymore. One of the things that I learned about feeling suicidal, and this is not a blanket statement, suicidal ideation is a chemical and a physical and a societal thing. We're dealing with pressures all over the world. So this is not a blanket thing. But in my experience, I was most suicidal because I was nutrient deficient. When the brain doesn't have all the nutrients, it starts sending messages that are like, you know what? We don't have enough, so let's just leave Earth. And it's just because I didn't have enough. My vitamin D was zero, basically. Like not enough vitamin D. I was severely anemic. I didn't have enough, just what do you call them? Micronutrients? Macronutrients? Yeah.
The
I didn't have
micronutrients.
enough of those in my system. And so one of, the first indicators that there might be something wrong with how I'm viewing my perception was when I got blood work done and my doctor prescribed me like a mega dose of vitamin D. So that changed things around. So I was able to better track and feel more here. And I wasn't dealing with 4 straight weeks, but it didn't improve my period. I was still having crazy periods. My mental health improved. I've been in therapy for about 7 years now. My decision to get into therapy was rooted in knowing what I had been through because of my parents not prioritizing their mental health and not wanting to inflict that on anyone else. Partner, friend, kids, I didn't want to do it to anyone else. And I was doing it to other people. I was being horrible to other people. I wasn't a good person. And so prioritizing my mental health has not only made me a good person, but I'm able to listen to my body more. So then getting a better period, I'm able to listen to my body more also.
Yeah.
Not so much with this partner, but with past partners, my period, the week before it actually started or coming off of my period, I would have, like, sex would be really painful. It wasn't even pleasurable, right? With my current partner, I didn't have that experience. However, what I did notice was once I started taking My Happy Flo, my libido is, I feel like a 12-year-old. I feel like a 13-year-old, okay?
The libido is back.
Hey, girl, we got stuff to do. I have to tell her, you have to calm down because I got a meeting in 30 minutes. Like, my body, I can hear my body now. Like right now, I am coming out of ovulation week. So my period should be starting in like 4 days. I could never, my sister will tell you, I could have never tracked my period like that before. I always felt zany. So now I have the ability to go, okay, we're coming out of my period. This week is just kind of like a recovery. We drinking water, getting our hydration back up, getting back on track. Did I check all my emails? That kind of stuff. Going into ovulation week, she be ready to kick down the doors. She be ready to kick down the doors. I've always had a pretty active, you know, libido, but the way it feels now, I can hear it so much better. It doesn't feel like, it feels very concentrated, like, oh, we about to put the pause on them. Okay, here we go, you know? And I love that. I love it. It's great.
Look, I love that for us, okay?
Right.
I love that for us. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Amazing. I love to hear that. Like, I've had so many customers who, you know, have fertility complications or didn't think they could conceive naturally come back and tell us that they're pregnant. I've seen a lot of customers have their My Happy Flo babies, like, and like Victoria, I don't know if she's on here. I know Victoria and Raquel sent me their baby pictures the day they had the baby. Like, I'm seeing the babies on the delivery table. And I'm like, it makes me so happy to be a part of the journey in that way, and to have My Happy Flo a part of the journey.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be me. I'm gonna be sending you pictures too. I actually feel hopeful now. Before My Happy Flo, I was like, if I don't have kids, it's whatever. I was starting to just wrap my mind around never being a mom. Right now, I'm like, oh, I know I can do this now. Definitely can happen for me. Like, it's in my future. Yeah, I can see that.
Yes. I just saw maybe 2 women saying they were on wait lists for a hysterectomy and they got pregnant. And it's just like, I mean, it's the testimonials just gives me chills.
Yeah.
It gives me chills. You girl, I'm gonna cry. If you reach out to me and say,
well, what I find to be so beautiful about what you've done for us as a generation of women who are now comfortable having what used to be uncomfortable conversations.
Yes, the conversations.
I'm so grateful for you. You're also combating at a time where they're doing like legalized sterilization on us. They're justifying sterilizing us. My doctor, she was a great surgeon. She did what she needed to do, and I'm appreciative of her. But before our surgery, she asked me, like, okay, and she kind of slipped it in, like, okay, and then so if things are a little bit worse when we go in there, we just want to confirm that it's okay for us to, you know, remove whatever we need to remove. And I said, don't remove anything except what you're going in there for. Remove your fibroids, remove your cysts, remove your polyps, do that. But do not take my fallopian tubes. Do not take either of my ovaries. Do not take my uterus. Period. I am telling you, do not do that. Since that surgery, I've heard at least 3 women who went into surgery for one thing and came out, their tubes are tied and burned on the ends, both fallopian tubes taken out, full hysterectomy, and it's because they didn't know that they could say, don't do that before they go in. And that's why I find what you do right now for us to be so necessary and so beautiful and so freeing. You are freeing us from what they're trying to make
absolutely.
They're taking our body parts.
It's a business, and that's how they make their money. They don't make their money from telling you how to change your lifestyle or your eating habits or your nutrition. They make their money from surgeries. So, like, it's infuriating almost. Like, I used to have an app called the Exo Tribe when I was at Exo Nicole, and one young lady did go into surgery, and it might have been for, I can't remember what it was for, but when she came out, they had taken her uterus. And while she, you know, just like you said, and she was livid. And I'm like, how does this happen to us? Like, we go into surgery for one thing, but we come out and they've taken the uterus or, you know, the tubes. It's mind blowing.
It's mind blowing. It's disheartening. It's legal sterilization. Like, they used to just snatch these things out of us before. Now they're like justifying it with, oh, when we went inside, everything was worse. Who can tell if that's true? Who can tell if that's true? Like, right, when they gave me my they gave me my consent forms when I went in, I read every single thing and I said, no. She and I had a conversation about this on the phone. This is wrong. And I refused to go under anesthesia until they corrected my paperwork. Like, she was like, oh, this
and what if you didn't look? What if you didn't read it? Oh my!
What if I didn't read it? What if? Because you can't sign the consent form if you're under any drugs. So they couldn't even move forward with any process of anesthesia because I hadn't signed my consent forms. And I was like, this is wrong. And so then they had to bring the surgeon like an hour before the surgery. And she was like, oh, this is the old form. This is the one that was done before we had our phone conversation. Get the new one. get the new one. I looked it over and I was like, okay, great. And we went in like, so it's sad because at one point in my life, I could not advocate for myself that way.
Wow.
I didn't know how. I didn't think I was even allowed to.
Wow.
I can only imagine what the rest of our generation is feeling when they go into these doctor's appointments, go to these surgeons. They think that they're putting the best choice in this doctor's hands. And that doctor is like, look, I can get another $2,500. If I take a tube, I'm going to take two.
Extra 25, they're getting about 20 grand.
Right.
In some of these surgeries. Yeah.
I'm going to take two. I'm
Wow.
going to take stuff you didn't even, I'm going to take this gallbladder. You don't need this gallbladder.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Insane. I've seen a lot of gallbladder surgeries for sure. If you don't take anything from this IG Live, it's advocating for yourself at the doctors. If you ever get diagnosed with fibroids, asking all the questions. What size are they? Where are they located?
Yep.
Are they cancerous? A lot of times they're not. If anyone follows Dr. Lippman, he's a fibroid expert here in Atlanta. He always says 80, I think it's maybe even 90% of hysterectomies are unnecessary. So he's just like, it's just unnecessary to, get rid of a uterus when there are other methods and things that could be done.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has a lot of great information. If you follow Fibroid Queen on here, she has, womb wellness, exercises you can do in like a holistic approach. She's a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
I love her to death. I'm trying to throw out like people that you can follow that can really help if you've been diagnosed with fibroids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want people to think we're like a fibroid product.
It just so happens
to be a byproduct of it, right?
Right.
Because I interviewed, I believe it was Social Work Bay just about 2 or 3 months ago that had a similar story to you where she had a number of fibroids and she went to the doctor 3 months later and they were all gone except for these like 2 tiny ones or whatever that they zapped.
Yeah.
But hold on, she said, I took My Happy Flo sparingly, but my fibroids grew and I just had surgery last week. The largest was 12 centimeters, which is pretty huge. I like to try it again daily as recommended. Absolutely. At least, I'd like to see, I'm so invested in everyone's period journey. When they reach out, when they email, I'm invested. I want to get updated. I want to know what happened next month. I'm invested. Hold on.
It's beautiful to be able to have a positive testimonial. Like, take y'all vitamins every day. Like, really think of it as taking a multivitamin and you're getting a chance to kind of fill in nutritional gaps. Because that's Absolutely. How I thought about it. Like, I thought about it as, okay, I'm already kind of taking vitamin D, and I sometimes be forgetting to take my vitamin C. I take my iron pretty regularly. This is like getting a chance to meet all of those needs in one. And then that way, if I take my vitamin D, I'm getting additional vitamin D. Absolutely. If I take my iron, I'm getting additional. Like, I'm already so much at a deficit because I have a natural hormone imbalance in my body. So I'm getting a chance to kind of like fill in gaps and give myself abundance in the same vein. So Absolutely. On my counter, I got a whole counter full of vitamins, and front and center is My Happy Flo. Look, hello, I got a cabinet full of empty My Happy Flo bottles. I just keep the bottles. Sometimes I'll put all my vitamins in my Happy Flo bottle, and I'll throw the bottle in my bag. You got the pill tray? I can't wait for the pill tray.
Oh, yeah. We haven't released this yet because, you need strategy, and I haven't had the bandwidth for the strategy of how to, this is actually a sample. This is how it really looks, but this is our vitamin case. It has a built-in mirror, but we wanted it so that you can take this around. No one knows that you got vitamins or pills or anything in this.
Yep.
Also, if you're a first-time customer, you normally will get a booklet in your packaging, and it gives a lot of information about the ingredients as well as tips and tricks. It tells you what a healthy period looks like. Also, pea color. Your pea color should be it actually should be lighter yellow, but it definitely shouldn't be this dark orange or brown.
Right.
That's kind of indication you need to drink more water with the product.
I
So
wanted to
yeah.
I wanted to answer Sasha Lael made a comment about struggle of getting them down. I saw this trick on TikTok. I don't really struggle with getting pills down, but I just tried it to see if it was as easy. If you have a capsule, like a My Happy Flo capsule, because it'll float. So you put it in your mouth, you put your water, and lean your head forward at a 45-degree angle. It makes them float to the back of your throat, and all you have to do is swallow like regular. And it'll go down.
If you're leaning forward, it goes back.
Because it'll float to the upper part of your mouth, and then all you got to do is swallow like regular.
Wow. Yeah. I sometimes I have nothing but fruit in my refrigerator, like grapes and strawberry or whatever. So what I'll do is do a handful of grapes sometimes, and I'll throw My Happy Flo back, then the grape, just so that
it's already textures happening. Textures are already happening.
Exactly. And just chasing it with grapes and stuff, just because. Yeah.
I love that. It's a great product. I'm so grateful for you. So grateful. I got my life back.
Both at the same time like that. She does your remedy, I think.
Yep. She's taking the same way. Vanessa used to I'm kind of put you on blast, V. V used to have to put the pills, she had to stick her tongue all the way out and put the pills far back as her hand could reach, and then hurry up and drink it. So she was not a strong pill taker when we were kids.
Yeah.
But that's also the trauma of periods.
Absolutely. And I'll say the reason why you'll probably never see My Happy Flo as a gummy, because gummies have sugar, and sugar just adds to the hormonal imbalance, which she was talking about earlier. When she cut sugar, she saw all the difference. A customer I was communicating with a customer through email, and she was having a lot of clots and but she told on herself because she mentioned soda, she mentioned some chips and all types of stuff that had a lot of sugar in it. And I was just like, hey, just a word of caution, the soda, the caffeine, it may actually contribute to the fibroid growth.
Yeah.
Just so you might want to be careful. And she came back maybe 5 days later and said, you know what? I stopped sugar for a few days and my clots stopped. She said, so thank you so much for the tips and tricks. But it makes a world of difference. The sugar is a thing. I think someone asked earlier when we talk about sugar, I think they said fruit carbs. What I'm obviously, I told you I have a whole refrigerator full of fruits. So obviously I'm pro fruit carbs and fruit sugar.
Yep.
But you can overdo it there as well sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Having a good balance of fruit and protein makes a huge difference. So
the protein is very important to have every meal.
Yeah.
It's especially for blood sugar support and other things.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions? My Happy Flo is the president of Normal Period. Hey, Coco!
Yep.
The conversational freak. Y'all, she was my first customer ever. She tried the sample product. I had a canister of pills for the sample, and she just happened to be out to dinner with me, and I noticed she was in pain. I'm like, girl, what's going on? And I'm like, what is the irony? Girl, come to my house. I got some sample pills. I can help you with that.
Yes.
And she was the perfect person to try on because she had a really intense period and she was coming on her period, and we were able to see results in a few days. It was, she said I was the hamster.
I just followed too. I just followed.
So we didn't know what we were going to get. She was on birth control. I think she said before she has PCOS, endometriosis, and fibroids, I believe. So yeah.
The trifecta. And the doctors just tell you, just take birth control. Like my doctor even asked me, I had an OB checkup 2 weeks ago. It might be 3 weeks ago now, but it was a couple of Wednesdays ago. I had an OB checkup. And her first question, okay, are you still on the birth control? I said, I am not.
And not. Absolutely not.
And she said, she goes, well, how have your periods been? And I said, beautiful. It's been a beautiful experience. She was like, tell me more. So I'm telling her everything. And I said, and I also take My Happy Flo. That is the #1 contributor to having a better period. And she goes, you mentioned that to me before. You might have to, so I'm going to drop off the flyer that came in with my last order.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop that flyer off to my OB. Like,
yeah.
She was like, I think I need to get that from my daughter. I was like, yes, please buy it for your daughter. Yep.
Coco said I had no period for 2 months because of stress. I took My Happy Flo. That itch came back normal. It's wild. I'm subscribed. She told me that her period came back within 4 days of taking My Happy Flo after disappearing.
Oh my God. I believe it.
Now, someone asks, when do you start the pills after birth control? I recommend for a smooth transition, you stop birth control, you start My Happy Flo, because it's replenishing a lot of the nutrients that birth control actually depletes from the body. Mm-hmm. That's why people see so many side effects too. Yeah. Outside of like the fact that birth control normally has synthetic hormones, it also depletes the body of key nutrients. Mm-hmm. So that's where you see all the side effects, your low libido, like the depression, weight gain, all types of things.
Yeah, I had my first suicidal episode in 6 years when I got back on birth control the first month.
Wow.
My first month on birth control. I hadn't had an episode in I want to say like 6 years. And they put me on birth control, and that first month I was like, oh, I can't do this.
I can't. I don't like the way I feel. Someone asks, when should I start taking the supplement, before or after? Before your period, please. Get ahead of it. If you could take it at least 7 to 10 days before, maybe even 14 days before. If you could start it, get as many in your system as you can before your period. You should see, I would say within the first period, if you're able to get ahead of it and start it before your period. And you continue to take it throughout your period as well. Mm-hmm. It's a daily thing. It's working daily to help support your hormonal balance.
Yep.
Coco, tell us, you was on birth control and My Happy Flo, but what happened when you got off the birth control at some point? Like, what happened with your periods?
So
can I hop on real quick? Yes, you can. How about that?
Yeah, let's
She's like, girl, I need to be how do I add as moderator? No, that's not how you do it.
I think she sends the invite.
Okay.
Good night, Nessa. I think did she send the invite?
Oh, sorry. I might have to invite her, or she can send one. Oh, hold on. Let's see what happens. She's like, I gotta tell my story. Oh, here
we go.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I am driving, but listen, My Happy Flo is a whole period religion, so I have to hop on.
It is.
Girl, tell us the tea.
Real quick. Okay, so I was on Nexapalon, which is the arm implant, and I was on it for 9 years. By the time I was taking My Happy Flo, so I was on Nexapalon and My Happy Flo. I had 14 plus day periods. When I had taken it the first time, when I came to your house, it dropped to 9 days, and then it dropped to 7. When I got off of birth control, it was like a normal period. But your girl didn't do her due diligence and be subscribed, so I forgot to purchase again. And for 2 months, I didn't have a period, and I was scared. So I was like, the only thing that changed was not having My Happy Flo. So literally 4 days taking it straight, my period came back, and it came back sneaky. Like, it wasn't like I PMS'd or anything.
It was like, hey, girl.
Came back and was like, hey, how you doing? Hey. And it's just fine, no clotting. I usually clot, no clotting, bright red, just beautiful.
Isn't it so beautiful? And what I'm hearing from you guys is that you both have such a better relationship with your body.
Yep. Way better.
Yes.
Beautiful is the perfect way to describe it. You were spot on.
And the thing is, like, a lot of doctors, you guys are right, like, they'll throw you on birth control. Like, I'm not going to lie, because I was sexually active, I tried the pill. And when I tell you, it had such an effect on my mood where I was just like, I can't do this. I just got to celibate because I'm not My Happy Flo.
Hello. My Happy Flo has to say, I'm in full agreement. I'm the exact same way. I don't care what nobody say. I am not stopping it. Even as a brand ambassador, I'm still subscribed. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had to make y'all brand ambassadors because I was like, y'all telling the people the truth out
because
here.
One of the things that I love is that we are not used to having conversations about periods so freely. And the more comfortable we are talking about our periods, the more we are freeing each other of this pain. Because as soon as you talk about periods, pain is the next conversation. So if we can have these conversations, now we're having conversations about alleviating pain. And that's what I want us to have as like people with periods, for us to be more comfortable talking about our periods. It shouldn't be taboo. I see commercials about the blue pill every time 9 o'clock hits. They're like, oh, do you need this blue pill? Men ain't got no problem talking about ED. But when it comes to us and our periods, it's taboo. Oh, it's blue, it's light blue liquid poured onto a pad. Baby, no. Nah, it's a hellfire coming down. It's a storm of ruin, you know? And so now that we're able to have these more comfortable conversations, like, this is going to be global. You changing the world.
Oh, thank you.
But you know what? But you said something that was spot on. You said we're telling the truth. But the thing is, it's not that we're telling the truth because Nicole told us. We're telling our truth of what we experience. So believe it or not, if you want to, but we good over here. It's up to you to decide, like, listen, are you going to live in pain or are you going to spend the $35? Because I know half of y'all be
hello
on a lace front.
Center part bust down.
You taking care of your lace fronts and your edges, but your period
You know
is
what?
ravaging your whole life. Like,
it's a word too, because like, and seriously, like, how much? It's almost like priceless. Like, how much are you willing to invest to get your life back every month?
Literally, and like, there's so many more hours in the day. Like, you said you had a 14-day period. I can only imagine what the tee-up looked like that week before them 14 days. I can imagine just the exhaustion that you felt, you know, being hot, being hungry, being moody, just it's being tired. It's everything that you feel all at once. And to get a week back?
Listen, since we're having a real conversation, can I just say one thing real quick, and I'll just hop off. If you know me, y'all know, like, I'm very raw, truthful, and if nothing else, if y'all don't give a damn about your health, okay? I am a sex coach. Think about this. You're going to have sex a lot faster if you on my
She was just talking about that too. Yes, follow Conversation Freak if you want to level up that sex game. Let me tell you, that's how we know each other, because I had to reach out to her like, girl, I need a little private session. I want to, I'm a Virgo. I'm trying to be excellent in everything. Okay. Everything.
Period.
I love that.
Yeah, like, listen, My Happy Flo for health and My Happy Flo for shallow ass reasons.
I second
You're talking about you get your libido back. So yeah, and you two have very similar stories in terms of like fibroids and endometriosis, very heavy periods for a long time. I felt it was wild that she was having those long periods and pain when birth control is normally prescribed to take away the thing. So that was what was so wild for me.
Yeah. That's nuts. 9 years, you said crazy. You were on your birth control?
Yeah.
Patience.
And I've tried the pill, I've tried Depo, and I've tried the Teflon. So I am the birth control slayer, unfortunately. I'm no longer on it. My Happy Flo for period president, but I'm no longer on birth control, and now my periods are, like, you know how day one's the worst? Nicole was there yesterday. Yesterday was day one. I'm in a whole production all day. Yeah, that was
day one, full on content day.
Charlene. I texted her. I was just like, girl, I woke up, and as I was getting ready, I realized I had my period. It wasn't even like I woke up and was like, oh shit. It was like, oh, let me just go about my day. And I saw, and I'm like, girl, I'm gonna be late because I didn't even know.
It comes on so gently.
Y'all, like, you're literally buying weeks of your life back. This is about a higher quality of life. This is This is about like
That part.
it, you know, your period has an effect on your mental health, your relationships, your intimacy, your sex life, how you show up in the world, body image, self-confidence, job performance. How many times you have to call out of work because of your period coming on?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you have a problem taking pills and like swallowing pills, because I know that is a thing for some people, the way I take mine is I literally break the I drink a smoothie every morning. I break the 2 capsules. I empty it out in a smoothie, set it and forget it. Or if you're drinking like a juice or a quick smoothie, a tropical smoothie, carry it with you, and you could just put
Yes.
it in your
So I
smoothie.
know, and
You
I
can
know
because
pull
someone
the
asked that earlier
you can
too.
pull the pill apart. I feel like people are accepted requesting the joint, but
Yes.
they may be just doing it by accident.
That was the question someone had asked earlier, like, can I take it apart? So I'm so glad that you said that, because I know that'll help a lot of people who can't take pills.
Mm-hmm.
And the design of the tablet is super helpful because it is in a powder form.
Yeah.
So if they have to take it apart, they can. I think that's beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I even think about the ways in which we show up for our friends. If my friends knew that if it was day 1 or nearing my period, I just wouldn't go out. And it does not matter what's happening. I can be a better friend to my friends because I'm not going, wait, what week is that? Wait, no. I think I'm gonna be on my period that week. I can't go. I can't make it. Or don't even talk to me this week. You can be a better friend to your people, to your relationships, because you're not missing out on hanging out with your people. You can actually kick it with your. Remember I told you I did 3 events in one day. I've never done that on my period. 3 events in one day.
Yeah.
Sun up to sundown, kicking it with the people all night. It was
Come
great.
on. Wow. It's a beautiful thing, y'all. Like
literally. Today's day 2. This is my second session at the gym today, and this is day 2.
Y'all,
I
love this for us because we were taught that this is something we just have to deal with for the rest of our lives. And there's nothing we could do, and there's always the only solutions given are popping painkillers by the hour, birth control, and eventually surgeries, and then eventually hysterectomy. So I knew we deserved a healthier option, and this is it. Like,
so grateful.
Oh,
and we are
forever grateful. Literally.
It's like an early birthday gift. Like,
yeah, I am grateful.
Girl.
I couldn't have asked for something to make my life easier if I prayed for it, and this is that. Like, to have it, I just at one point I will not cry because I'm a thug and I don't believe in crying on social media, but there was just like, you get to a certain point in the pain where you go, there's no remedy. This is my life. Like, I'm gonna be like this until I get menopause, and now I gotta go through menopause and be irritable through, you know what I mean? It's like there's no relief ever. And that kind of contributed to the hesitation, my reservations with trying, where I'm like, I'll never feel a resolve. This is gonna be like this forever, so I might as well just suck it up, and what a forced incarceration. That's crazy. I'm glad to be free. Thank you.
Look at God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
Eve ate the apple.
Hello.
But Nicole is hello. Think that she made
You know what?
Apple.
Free me from Eve's mistake.
Yes. My sister is getting y'all right. Y'all follow the Conversation Freak to step up your bedroom game. Y'all.
Yeah, let me know when you have that Zoom. You got a Zoom? What you doing this?
You do them virtual events.
I need to do another free class.
I feel like if I get any more tips, I'm gonna have to start giving him ginseng and Gatorade.
Hilarious.
Drain.
Nah, coconut water.
Well, yeah,
coconut
thank
water.
you guys. Like, in case you didn't know, our website is myhappyflo.co. And if you use Ink Very Well code, you can get 20% off.
Yay.
Because she's one of our fave brand ambassadors. We love our brand ambassadors, are just so dope. I'm gonna get a few more on here for you guys in the month of August. But thank you guys for tuning in. I got 2 of my favorite people on here.
Yes, thank you for having us. I appreciate it
a party.
so much. I followed you too.
Thank you for accepting my impromptu.
Yes, I want to tune into everything you're talking about. I'm in full support. Yes, more conversations about periods, more conversations about good sex. I'm on board.
Hilarious.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Nicole.
any parting words before we go?
My final thing, advocate for yourself, fight for yourself, be the grown-up that you needed when you were a kid for yourself. Try the things that you hear, people talking about. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to communicate. And if you sleeping with somebody and you can't have a comfortable conversation about your periods, you sleeping with the wrong person. Find somebody who supports you through all the days of your period. And I'm excited. I love y'all.
And I want to say, because a lot of women out here actually have daughters that are getting their periods. So we can, like all the things that we didn't know. And we can have the conversations with them and celebrate them and getting their period so that they're comfortable with this beautiful thing that's happening in their body. One thing I forgot to say during this live, and I cannot believe I have not said it within the hour or whatever we've been on here. Your period is like, so your menstrual cycle is your fifth vital sign. Just like your blood pressure, just like when they take your heart rate at the doctor. That's why they ask you, when is the last time you came on your period? Like, whether it's irregular, not coming on time, heavy, says a lot about your overall health. Your period is your body's report card. It's coming every month and it's giving you insight into what's going on in your body. Yeah. So a lot of times, we're hating our period. Like, it's like the bestie. It's giving us tea on what's going on in there. So we need to develop a really great relationship with our periods, know what normal period symptoms are supposed to be, and know when you are doing all the right things, you're eating the way you should, you're keeping your stress levels where they should, you're establishing boundaries, you're saying no to the F boys, all the things, like, you're eating right, it's going to show up in a positive way in your menstrual cycle or your period every month. So look at your period like your body's report card every month. And if it's coming and it's painful, you have your PMS and you're bloating and things, it's just a few tweaks you may have to make until you get to the periods that they're talking about right now.
You're going to have to get a little bit of cleansing, a little spring cleaning, but eventually it's going to flow. And that happy is going to be for real. It's going to be really your happy flow, okay? And what I will say
some of y'all got a D-. Some of y'all got a D- and an F on that report card. But the beautiful part is you could bring it up.
Do that extra credit.
Absolutely.
Do that extra credit. There ain't no problem.
We trying to hand out all A's this year.
Welcome your daughters.
Absolutely.
Yes. I just want anybody that has kids, daughters, anybody who has a period, welcome the young generation into their periods. No more, well, you can get pregnant now conversations. That is just, we cursing the generations, making them feel shame about getting periods. Ain't nothing to be shameful about whatsoever. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's my 2 cents.
Well, thank you guys. It was a good one. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to try my best to save this thing and put a cover on it and have it on a timeline. It might go up with nothing, no writing at first. I got to get the caption together, but at least it's going to be up here. Okay?
Yes. Appreciate you.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.